God has called us to take the gospel to all the world, and He distributes His grace to accomplish this purpose. A glorious day to you, beloved of God. You are welcome to lesson 21 of our Sunday school this year. Our topic in this lesson is evangelism and missionary graces. So in lesson 11, we had discussed witnessing Christ in the world as one purpose for spiritual power and gifts. And in lesson 20, we had discussed the gift of apostleship in spreading the gospel. Evangelists and missionaries are also graces for spreading the gospel, and we shall delve into the origins and characteristics of these gifts, exploring how they contribute to fulfilling the Great Commission. So our memory scripture is from Romans chapter 10 and verse 15. It says, "And how can they preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news." Our lesson has two divisions, namely 1, the gift of an evangelist, and 2, the gift of a missionary. So let's go with division 1, the gift of an evangelist. The word evangelist originates from the ancient Greek term evangelistes, which literally translates to bringer of good news. This concept found its home in Christianity through the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which were originally titled Evangelion in Greek. This signifies accounts of the good news about Jesus, or in one word, the gospel. The Bible identifies the work of an evangelist in Ephesians chapter 4 verse 11 as a spiritual gift. While all Christians are called to share their faith, the evangelist's gift equips them to do it exceptionally well. They are passionate about explaining the gospel to the unconverted, and they actively seek opportunities to share their faith. In John chapter 1 from verse 40 to 49, we see people like Andrew and Philip who just met Jesus enthusiastically going out to call others to their newfound belief. Now think of Peter's powerful preaching on the day of Pentecost. This is a prime example of this gift in action. So the evangelist's focus lies in persuasively sharing the gospel with those who haven't yet embraced Christ, leading them to faith in Him. They possess a burning desire to explain the gospel, readily engaging with unbelievers and presenting the message in a clear and compelling way. This gift isn't limited to public speaking like those who take up public address systems to public environments to preach. It can also manifest in one-on-one conversations, small group discussions, or even written communication. And this we see in the gospel writings of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Today there are people who have dedicated themselves to writing tracts, columns in newspapers, bulletins, and even publishing creative books to introduce the gospel to unbelievers. So quickly we move to division 2, the gift of the missionary. Now the word missionary could literally be explained as one sent on a mission. The word has Latin roots stemming from the word missio, meaning the act of sending. And that concept aligns with the idea of being dispatched for a purpose. Interestingly, the word missionary itself is not found in the Bible. However, we see the sending concept all over the New Testament, as with the words apostolos, which we discussed in lesson 20. A missionary is driven by the call of God, and he dedicates himself to actively spreading the gospel message across cultures and nations. They take evangelism beyond their local areas of comfort. This gift allows believers to utilize their existing spiritual gifts in foreign environments, like the scattered Christians who preached after the persecution. Now, these people went from Jerusalem to Judea and into Samaria. The mandate of Christ to take the gospel to the ends of the world therefore needs missionaries to accomplish. In Paul, the apostle's case, God specifically called him to reach the Gentiles in Acts chapter 22 and verse 21. So a true missionary like Paul is passionate and dedicated to the calling, readily responding to the directives of God. It is easy to get confused about the difference between apostles, missionaries, and evangelists, but we see that all of these gifts stem from the same mandate of sharing the gospel to all the world. While the evangelist is one who is passionate about sharing the gospel to the unbeliever, the missionary is that evangelist who is burdened with the responsibility of moving out of his locality to other cultures and nations. This may also sound in some way as a characteristic of apostles. Today, the word missionary is more commonly used than apostle. Now, the act of sending out missionaries serves as an inspiration for all believers to dedicate their time, their resources, and talents to God's work in any setting and in any endeavor that wins people to God's kingdom. Ultimately, our mission is to take the gospel to unbelievers, whether far or near, and bring them into the fold of Christ. Paul told Timothy, do the work of an evangelist, fulfill your ministry. Our lesson summary. Jesus prioritizes saving souls through evangelism and missions, making these endeavors a source of great joy for both the planter and the harvester. May we all be faithful to the cause of Christ in our world today. Thanks for being part of this today. By the grace of God, next week we will continue with lesson 22. Have a great week ahead. God bless you.